Alright, so before I get started on this, I want to give you a spoiler warning. I am going to be talking about this entire season, including what happens in the finale. So if you have not watched all of it and you plan on it, you should probably steer clear of this video. For the rest of us who have seen it all, or if you just don't care, here we go. What If? Season 1. So What If is the newest Disney Plus series in the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Phase 4. It's the 4th series. Phase 4 is still going strong. And this is the first animated series, or animated anything really, that we've gotten from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's more or less based off of the What If Marvel comics, which are a real thing. They've been around for decades. Basically, the concept of this series is kind of springboarding off of the finale of Loki Season 1. If you remember, spoiler alert for that, the Marvel multiverse has now been unleashed. And so now What If is more or less our peek into that multiverse. You know, different branches, different possibilities, all these different universes, and they're being watched over by Uatu, the Watcher, who is voiced by Jeffrey Wright. Pretty good casting. So the Watcher acts as our guide. He actually narrates the series, kind of like a Twilight Zone-ish kind of thing. And I will say, he is a pretty cool character, because Jeffrey Wright has a really cool voice for stuff like this. He's BT from the Hunger Games, so he's gonna be talking like this. I am the Watcher. He's got that ominous quality to his voice, you know?
I am your guide through these vast new realities.
But leading up to this series, I wasn't really looking forward to it because it's just What If, it's animated. Does it really matter in the whole, actual timeline in our multiverse, Marvel Cinematic Universe saga? I mean, now I get that it's illustrating that the multiverse that was opened at the end of Loki Season 1, this is what it is, so that's kind of cool. But the stories within the multiverse, Captain Carter, the first episode, for example, I was watching this episode and I was like, nothing about this is really appealing to me. Like, yeah, they crushed the plot of Captain America, the First Avenger into half an hour, but the question is, what if Peggy was the one who got the super soldier serum instead of Steve Rogers? Which, I'm not against that concept at all, and it was really cool that Haley Atwell returned to voice her. In fact, a lot of MCU actors returned to voice their characters in the show. But this episode, I wasn't a fan. The romance that she had with Steve Rogers seemed kind of forced, like it came out of nowhere. And then the big tentacle monster at the end, I was like, what is that? That's weird. So this series, or at least this season, started off on the wrong foot for me. But then the second episode came out, and it's the one where T'Challa is Star-Lord instead of Peter Quill, and that episode wasn't bad. Actually, I like that one. You see Thanos has gone straight, he's not on a genocidal mission anymore. That was great. That was actually really funny. And of course, he's voiced by Josh Brolin, who played Thanos in the MCU. And the late great Chadwick Boseman did provide the voice for T'Challa in this season. So this is truly the last performance we will ever get from him. And I hate to bring it up, but in the later episodes of the season, you definitely hear Chadwick's voice. It sounds weak. Like, his voice definitely does sound like it's straining a little bit. And it just made me sad. But I did enjoy that second episode. And then the third episode happened, which is like, what if all the Avengers were killed by some assassin or something? And I was like, now this episode is underwhelming again. I'm not gonna lie, a couple of these episodes were pretty forgettable. And this third episode was one of them. But then the fourth episode happened, and I thought it was great. The Doctor Strange one? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That was one of the best episodes of the season. It's a tragic story, where in Doctor Strange's origin story, Rachel McAdams' character, Christine Palmer, was in the car with him when the crash happened. And so the question is, what if Christine Palmer died in the crash? Doctor Strange tries to bring her back. He goes back in time a bunch of times and she keeps dying every time. And you find out that her death is an absolute point in time. But Doctor Strange is like, no, I am bringing her back because I'm in love with her. Where that ends up, it's so sad and tragic. At the very end of the episode, he ends up bringing her back, but that creates a paradox in the universe, and the universe just folds in on itself and he destroys his universe. And the way they play up the emotions there, I was like, yeah, this is good. Great, even. So, alright, at this point, I was not a fan of the first episode. I liked the second episode. I wasn't a fan of the third episode. I liked the fourth episode. I was starting to notice a pattern. I was like, is this series undergoing Star Trek movie syndrome? Where, like, the even-numbered ones are good and the odd-numbered ones are bad? At least in my opinion. That's just what came to my mind. But then the fifth episode happened. The fifth episode is the Marvel Zombies episode. And I'll admit, that one was pretty cool. I'm not a huge zombie fan just in general, but Marvel Zombies is a fan-favorite storyline from the comics. And so to see it in action, even animated action, it was pretty cool. It was Marvel Zombies meets the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What if zombies? I ended up liking that episode. I especially liked seeing zombie Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch. That was pretty cool. I was not expecting that. And I am wondering, the Spider-Man that they feature in that episode, the spider symbol is different from the one we are used to in the MCU. I'm wondering if that's like a studio thing. The fact that he's not voiced by Tom Holland, I don't know. And then the next couple episodes, episodes 6 and 7, I wasn't a fan of again. The 6th episode is what if Killmonger originally rescued Tony Stark from being blown up by the missile in the very beginning of the first Iron Man movie. I was watching that one and I was like, this is happening. I don't know why it's happening. I was kind of indifferent about the whole thing. Like, ooh, he ends up killing Tony Stark. okay. Tony Stark dies in like every episode of this season. I don't know, this episode was just plain forgettable for me. I mean, Killmonger's great, he's voiced by Michael B. Jordan, one of the best actors working today, so that was cool. But aside from that, not really digging this, so alright, moving on. To the 7th episode, the Party Thor episode. Oh my god. I apologize to anyone who's watching this video who liked that episode, but for me, it was a huge misfire. I actually hated this episode. I just thought it was stupid. I think the question is like, what if Thor never learned his lesson in the first movie or something like that? So like, what if he just remained an arrogant prick? The difference in this universe is that Loki was never adopted into Asgard, so he remained a frost giant, and therefore the whole, like, the events of the first Thor movie never happened, and therefore Thor remained an asshole. And I get it, so he's out partying, he goes to Las Vegas, and it's like, holy shit, alien invasion, but they're just partying. And I was watching it like, this is stupid. I didn't think any of it was funny. For me, it was a new low for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I dare say that. I will say, out of everything the Marvel Cinematic Universe has given us, and I know it all because I'm a huge hardcore MCU fan. I'm talking about the main Marvel Studios stuff, not any of the Marvel Television, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Netflix or any of that stuff. Out of everything that Marvel Studios has given us, this episode of What If has to be at the bottom of the barrel. This is my least favorite thing to come out of the MCU yet. I'm sorry to whoever at Marvel Studios thought this episode was just a genius idea, but I just disagree. But then, however, we get to the 8th episode, in which the question is, what if Ultron won? And this episode actually blew my mind a little bit, unexpectedly so. Yeah, as the title suggests, Ultron, you remember Ultron from Avengers Age of Ultron, he was voiced by James Spader. In this episode, he's not. He's voiced by Ross Marquand, who actually played Red Skull in Infinity War and Endgame. So in this universe, Ultron wins his objective, and he gains the power of the Infinity Stones, and what really surprised me here is that he realizes that he's being watched by Uatu the Watcher. And so this Ultron finds the Watcher, and they actually get into a scuffle. I was like, holy shit, what's happening here? Is this show actually becoming relevant, dare I say? Because now Ultron is like, there are countless universes that need to be silenced. This Ultron now has access to the multiverse, so yeah, he needs to be stopped. Alright, well that's pretty cool. And the way that episode ends with the Watcher going to Doctor Strange from the 4th episode, the one who destroyed his universe, the Watcher breaks his oath because he's the Watcher, he's not allowed to intervene with any of these stories, any of these universes. He swore an oath never to intervene, but he breaks that oath because the multiverse is in danger. He goes to Doctor Strange and he asks for his help, and I thought that was a great cliffhanger. I was like, alright, setting up for what should be a really cool finale. And so today, the season finale came out and I watched it, and I was underwhelmed. Yeah, I'm sorry for those of you watching this who love the finale, great, power to you. But after it was done, I was like, that's it? That's what we get? In this finale, the Watcher assembles a team of heroes from these different universes that we've seen over the course of the season. Captain Carter, T'Challa, Star-Lord, Party Thor, and some Gamora from somewhere, who was obviously not voiced by Zoe Saldana. It sounded nothing like her. But the Watcher assembles this team to take on Ultron, and the fight happens, and they beat Ultron, and that's that. It just kind of wraps up in a nice little bow. What really bummed me out about this is that there was no consequence for the Watcher for breaking his oath. Because over the course of the season, he made it seem so important that he does not intervene. He made it feel like if he does intervene, then the world would end or something. Or at least he would be in deep shit with whoever he swore the oath to. But no, in the end, that Ultron is defeated. All the heroes go back to their respective universes. He does take that one Black Widow and put her in another universe where they lost their Black Widow. Because this Black Widow's universe is the one where Ultron won, so everyone was dead, so there was nothing left for her in her universe. So the Watcher's like, alright, I'll put you in one universe where they need a Black Widow. You're not gonna have a consequence there? He literally messed with timelines there. I imagine maybe in season 2 something will come of that, but there's nothing in this season finale that really hints at that. Even that little credit scene where Captain Carter goes up into that room and there's like, oh my god, there's a Hydra Stomper, and oh my god, someone's in there. Oh, it's Steve Rogers. I was like, so? I don't really care about that. And then the season ends with the Watcher being like, I am the Watcher. I was like, I know these stories, they are home to me, and I will defend them till the end. I was like, okay. So basically, this season is telling us that you can break your oath whenever you want, Mr. Watcher, and you won't be punished for it. So you can save however many billions of lives you want to. I don't know, that's just what this season told me. So in the end, what if? Yeah, I gotta say it's my least favorite thing to come out of the MCU so far. I do like the fact that this is our peek into the multiverse that opened up at the end of Loki season 1. Sure, that's cool. I like Jeffrey Wright as the voice of Uatu the Watcher, and some of the episodes I liked. I liked 4 out of the 9 of them. Episodes 4 and 8, they were great. They were the best. And episodes 2 and 5 I also liked. The rest of them though, they were either bad or forgettable. Just my main thing about What If is that these stories they just don't matter. They don't affect what's happening in our main MCU timeline, where everything else has taken place so far. And I get that that's the point, and that's why this is an animated show called What If. So alright, it's cool in that aspect, but some of these episodes, some of these stories, they were underwhelming. I don't know, here's hoping the second season picks it up a little bit. So, Marvel Studios' What If Season 1. Have you watched it? Have you watched all the episodes? What do you think about them? Which episode was your favorite? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.